212 has definitely got the mise en place working right now. Wonder what he's going to make for you guys today? Well, I guess you're going to have to stay tuned to find out. Right here on 12's Kitchen, which starts right now. Hey guys, I'm back. So we've been focusing mostly on main dishes throughout the course of 12's Kitchen. So today I wanted to put a little emphasis on side dishes. So, you know, we made a lot of chicken, some salmon, some steak, some sauces, some wraps. But again, we haven't really focused on actual side dishes. I've made side dishes to go with some of the mains, but just like some steamed broccoli, some roasted asparagus. So today I got three really fun sides I like to make. They're kind of go-tos for me whenever I need to have something to go with any particular dish that I'm making. So what we're going to work on today are some garlic green beans, some zucchini with onion and Parmesan, so tasty. And we're going to do a roasted garlic and Parmesan cauliflower mash. Because I am low carb, so I go for the low carb alternative when it comes to having like a starch. You know, if you watch a lot of cooking shows or, you know, you go out to eat, you have your protein, you have your veggie, and then you have your starch. Well, me, I'm kind of light on the starches. I don't like to do a lot of starch, so whenever I'm feeling a hankering for something kind of starchy, I go with a cauliflower mash. It's really good for me. So we are going to get started, and we'll take a look at everything we have laid out. So one more peek at the mise en place here. All right, just another quick peek at the veggies we're going to be working with for our sides today. So we've got some cauliflower that we've rinsed and put in the florets. Some green beans, and make sure with the green beans you always remove the tip. See, I cut the tip off there. You don't want the tip. Some zucchini that we've already sliced in the coins. Some onion. There we go. Oh, onion. That we sliced with the grain. So, you know, I showed you how to fine dice an onion before, and we left the tail end, the little hairy end, on the onion. Well, this time we cut off both ends and just cut with the grain of the onion to make a nice fine feathered slices like we have here. We got some Parmesan that we have freshly grated, and which will be going into our cauliflower mash as well as in our zucchini dish. And we've got minced garlic for our garlic green beans, and garlic that we're going to roast for our cauliflower mash. And speaking of the cauliflower mash, we're going to get started roasting the garlic right now because it's going to take about 45 minutes or so. So we'll do the cauliflower mash last, but we'll get the garlic going first. So I got the garlic in this little crock here. I'm just going to cover it with a little bit of olive oil. A little bit of olive oil. Hit it with a little bit of salt and pepper. Just a tiny bit. A little bit of pepper. Alright. Toss those, coat those really nicely. Alright, so with this garlic, we are going to cover it with some aluminum foil. And we're going to pop this in the oven. I already have the oven heated up to 375 degrees. We're going to pop this in the oven for roughly about 45 minutes or so to get a nice golden brown roast on that garlic so that we can get it into our cauliflower mash. So, without further ado, we're going to get started first on our garlic green beans after we get this crock into the oven. So, come on back. 12 got more for you guys. Stay tuned. Okay, so we are ready to get started on our garlic green beans. So what we're going to do, what we got out here right now is we have a pot of water boiling or getting ready to boil. And actually, as it gets close to boil, I'm going to put a nice healthy pinch of salt into the water. What we're going to do is blanch these vegetables. Whenever you're blanching vegetables, a good idea to get seasoning into the vegetables themselves. I mean, you're going to season the outer part when you saute them with the garlic and the oil. But to get the seasoning throughout the green beans, you want to have a nice healthy pinch of salt in your water. And a good way to check to see if the water has enough salinity is to give it a little taste. It should taste like the ocean. Alright, so we're waiting for that to come up to a boil. What we have here is a bowl with some cold water and some ice. So we're going to give these green beans an ice bath as soon as they're done blanching. And let's talk about blanching real quick as the water comes up to a boil. So I like my green beans pretty crisp, firm and crisp. Even though I'm going to saute them with some garlic and put them on the heat, I still want them fairly crisp. Sauteing them without blanching them first, you have to saute them a little bit longer to take that, that hardness off of the green beans, because they're pretty tough. They're pretty tough on their own. So we want to blanch them. So what we're going to do is, once the water comes up to a boil, we're going to put the green beans in the boiling water for roughly about 30 seconds, and then we're going to get it into the ice bath so that the color remains green and it stops the cooking process. Like I said, I only want them kind of like al dente with pasta. I like them to have a little bit of bite to them as opposed to being real flimsy. So that's why we're only going to blanch for about 30 seconds or so and then get it into the ice bath to stop the cooking process and keep them nice and vibrant green. Alright, so the water is just now coming up to a boil. Just about. So we're almost ready to get our green beans in. Alright, water to a full rolling boil. We're going to go ahead and drop in our green beans. Alright, and we're just going to let those go for about 30 seconds or so. And once they come out, we're going to get them into our ice bath. Okay, so we have blanched and drained our green beans, and now we're going to get them into our ice bath. As I stated before, this will stop the cooking process and will keep the green beans nice and green. Nice and green. If you blanch them and don't put them in the ice bath, sometimes the oxidation makes them turn a little bit darker green. I like a nice bright green on mine. Plus, when we put the heat to them, they're going to get a little bit darker anyway. So, yeah, I prefer to do the ice bath, but you can always skip this step. But I give it about 5 minutes or so. And then once I get them out of the ice bath, I pat them down, and then we'll be ready to saute. So we'll let these go for about 5 minutes and then get them nice and dry. And then we'll get ready to put together our garlic green beans. We'll be right back, guys. Okie dokie. We're ready to get sauteing on our green beans. We got them out of the ice bath and patted dry. So normally I do this with just the sauteed green beans and some minced garlic, but today I'm going to double down on the garlic flavor. So I got a garlic clove I smashed, and I'm going to go ahead and drop that into the oil. I got it heating over about a tablespoon of olive oil, heating over medium heat, medium to low, medium low heat, I would say. And what we're going to do is we're just going to get this garlic clove fried up. And what's going to happen is, the reason I smash it is because the oil from the garlic will release into the olive oil. And again, that's why I said we're going to double down on that garlic flavor a little bit. So we're going to cook this clove. Basically, we're going to fry this clove, allow it to release all its juices and goodness from the inside. And then we're going to saute our green beans. So what we're looking for here is we want to let that go until the garlic clove is turned totally brown. And then once it's brown, it's pretty much no good because it's basically not burnt, but the oils have released into the oils from the garlic have released into the olive oil to give you even more of that garlic flavor. With your green beans. So again, we're just going to let this go until it is all the way brown. Then we're going to discard it and then saute our green beans. Alright, so that garlic clove has given us just about all it has. So we're going to put that to the side, and now we're going to get our green beans into the pan. And this goes pretty quickly. You're only going to need to saute these for about 2 or 3 minutes or so, just to warm them through. Get them in the pan, get them nice and coated with that garlic flavored oil. Hit them with a little bit of salt and pepper. Alright, a little bit of pepper. And again, we're only sauteing these for a couple minutes just to get them warm through. Work them around in the pan. And you can saute them until they get a slight char on them if you like. A little crispy edge on the green bean never hurt. But again, I'm just going to do a quick saute here, like anywhere between 1 and 3 minutes, just to get them all the way heated through. I took them out of the ice bath and just patted them down, so they're still pretty cold. Normally what I would like to do is, after I get them out of the ice bath, I let them come up to room temp, just like I do with any protein that I'm going to saute or try to get a sear on. It's best to have them at room temp, as close to room temp as possible, so that the cooking time is reduced. Okay, because remember, anytime you're dealing with a hot pan and you put in a cold protein or cold veggies or anything like that, then it's gonna drop the temperature of the pan, so that it takes longer for the pan to come up to the proper temperature to thoroughly cook whatever item you're putting into your saute pan. All right. So I'm going to say these are pretty much ready. I'm going to cut the heat, and I'm going to put in about 2-3 cloves of crushed garlic. Alright, and the reason we do this off the heat is because we don't want to burn the garlic. So I just give it a little swirl and coat the green beans in the garlic. Because if you throw the garlic in with the heat still on top of the heat, there's a good chance you're going to scorch your garlic, and that creates a pretty bitter taste, and we don't want that. We like the bite that garlic gives, but it's a sweet, mild aroma, you know, and we want to get that aroma as well as a good taste of the garlic. But if we cook it too hard and too fast and too long over the heat, we will scorch our garlic. So I can smell the garlic. You pretty much know it's ready when you put the garlic in the pan after, you know, moving it around for about 30 seconds or so, where you can smell the garlic, you are done. So we're done with these sauteed green beans. We're ready to move on to the next. Well, we'll plate them first, then we'll move on to the next here on 2wlv's Kitchen. And there you have it. Our sauteed green beans that we doubled down with the garlic flavor by sauteing a smashed garlic clove in the oil first to get that oil from the garlic into the olive oil, and then added some minced garlic off the heat when we were done sauteing them all the way through. So there's our green beans. We're going to get ready to move on now to our zucchini and onions with Parmesan. Stay tuned. There's more 2wlv's Kitchen to come. Alright, so garlic green beans done. So now we're on to our zucchini and onions. So we're going to start with our onions that we sliced up. Like I said, got about a tablespoon or so of olive oil over medium heat. A little bit of salt to help sweat the onions. And a little pepper as well, just because I like to season at every level. If you season at every level, then usually you don't have to do very much seasoning at the end. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to let these go maybe about 5 or 10 minutes or so until they start to slightly caramelize and you start to see the crisp edges around the fringes of the onion. And then we'll get our zucchini in and saute that top it with some Parmesan. Oh my goodness, it's going to be so tasty, guys. So, sliced onion. I use a whole onion here for this application. I have two sliced zucchini into coins. So, we're going to let this go until the edges start to get nice and crisp and they've softened considerably. And then we are going to get our zucchini in sauteing right along with it. Stay tuned. There's more 2wlv's Kitchen to come, guys. We doing the dang thing today. Side dishes at the forefront. Alrighty, so our onions are starting to brown a little bit, and quiet as it's kept, I snuck a little garlic in there because hell, put garlic in the green beans. Garlic's going in the roasted garlic cauliflower mash, so I threw just a little bit of garlic in here. So we're going to add our zucchini now, and if you feel the need to add a little bit more oil, this would be a good time to do so. I'm actually going to drop about another ½ tablespoon of oil in to get our zucchini nice and sauteed. Alright. Zucchini in the pan. I could have been a little more uniform with how I put that in there, of course. Alright. Get it evenly spread out throughout the pan. Goodness gracious. There we go. There we go. Some of them were stuck together. Alright, and we're also going to hit it with a little bit of salt and pepper as well. Season at every level. And the salt will help draw the water out of the zucchini as well. And we're just going to saute this until the zucchinis are completely sweated out and slightly brown, and then we'll be ready to plate this up. About 5 or 10 minutes or so. You want to allow the zucchini to cook all the way, and it'll reduce in size as well. I prefer to cut them in coins. You can do like half moons if you like, and you can even, if you like, cube them up and serve them that way. I prefer them sliced though, so whichever you prefer. But we're gonna let these go about 5 or 10 minutes or so until the zucchini's all the way cooked and nicely brown, and then we'll be ready to plate this up. So we're gonna keep going. DJ 12 and 12's Kitchen, we will return, guys. Stay tuned. Alright, so we have got some very nice brownage on our zucchini. So we're going to cut the heat. Work that around a little bit. Alright, so before we plate, we're going to throw about a couple of tablespoons of Parmesan. And we're going to add some more Parmesan when we plate it up. Oh yeah. Get that in there nice and melty, ooey gooey. Alright, so we're ready to plate this up and then move on to our finale, which is the roasted garlic and Parmesan cauliflower mash. Stay tuned. Alright, and there we have our zucchini with onions. Snuck a little bit of garlic in there. We're also going to finish it with a little more Parmesan. Oh, yeah. Ooh-wee. Side dish? Main dish. Side piece? Yeah. There you have it. Zucchini and onions with Parmesan. I guarantee you, this one right here will be a hit. Trust 12 on this one. It will be a hit. Come on back. We're going to get started on our mashed cauliflower with roasted garlic and Parmesan. Coming up next. Okie doke. So we've got our water up to a nice rolling boil. We're going to get started on our cauliflower mash. As always, when we're boiling vegetables, we want to season the vegetables thoroughly. So we want to get some salt, good amount of salt into the boiling water. And we're also going to salt the cauliflower when we mash it up. So, but this will give us a good chance to get it nice and flavorful before we have to add any more seasoning. Alright, so we're going to get our cauliflower in. Be careful, that water's hot. Stay out of the splash zone. And I'm using a whole head of cauliflower here. If you are, like myself, I'm always cooking for one. Sometimes I cook for my roommate. Sometimes I share with friends, but mostly I'm always cooking for myself. So you can use half a cauliflower here if you like. And of course, if you want to cop out, you can go ahead and buy the packaged mashed cauliflower. That's fine too. 12 won't be offended. It's all right. So we've gotten our cauliflower back in. We're going to bring the water back up to a boil. And then once it boils, we're going to drop the heat. We're going to let it simmer. And we're going to cover it for about 10 minutes until the cauliflower gets tender enough to mash. Alright? So we'll let this go for a little bit until the water comes back up to a full boil. And then we'll get ready to cover it and let it simmer for a bit. DJ 12, 12's Kitchen. I'll be right back, guys. Alright, full boil. So, that reminds me of one of my favorite episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but that's another story for another day. Full boil, we're going to drop the heat to simmer. Alright, once that comes back down, we're going to go ahead and cover it. And we're going to allow this to simmer for about 10 minutes. These aren't potatoes. They shouldn't take as long, but we'll let them go a full 10 minutes and we'll check them with a fork to make sure they're soft enough to mash. And then we'll get mashing, you guys. DJ 12, I'll be back. All right. So our cauliflower is done and almost ready to be mashed. So one last thing we're going to do, here's a little trick, because no one likes waterlogged either potatoes or mashed cauliflower. So after we get the cauliflower out of the boiling water and drain it, we're going to put it back into the pan or the saucepan, the pot, and over low heat we just want to allow the steam to evaporate all the moisture that's in the cauliflower. So I'm going to have this sit on top of the stove for about another 5 minutes or so to get out all of that water, because like I said, no one likes any waterlogged mashed potatoes or mashed cauliflower. So once that's done, then we'll be ready to mash it up and serve them up. Alright, 12 will be right back. Alrighty, so we have steamed the cauliflower to get all the moisture out, and I even mashed it and went ahead and let it steam for a little bit more just to get as much of the liquid out as I could. So we're going to start, and we've already mashed it, so we're going to go ahead and start putting everything together. We're going to start with our roasted garlic. See, it's nice and brown there, and basically what you're going to do is you're going to take the garlic and you're going to squeeze out the fleshy part of the inside, that right there, into your cauliflower in this case, not potatoes. So when you get that roasted cauliflower in there, and if it doesn't just come right out when you squeeze it, just feel free to go ahead and just kind of pick it apart and get the fleshy part, the roasted inside. See there? See that roasted inside of the garlic? Get that into the cauliflower. We have 6 cloves here, so we're going to get them all in here and incorporate those into the garlic cauliflower mash. It's okay to get a little bit messy here, but we want to get all of that flesh out. There we go. So whenever you have like garlic mashed potatoes, this here is the secret ingredient, the roasted garlic. And I don't know if you can buy roasted garlic at the store, so it's always good to have garlic on hand. So if you have a hankering for some roasted garlic mashed cauliflower or mashed potatoes, you can just easily roast you some up and throw it into your mash, whatever it is, whether it's potatoes or cauliflower, which is the case in this case. Alright. Alright, so that's the last little bit of garlic. I'm going to give my hands a nice little wash. All right, so garlic's in. We're going to add a couple tablespoons of butter. About a 1/4 cup of heavy cream. Should be about all you need. If you want to use a little bit more, feel free. If you want to use a little bit less, feel free. A little bit of salt. Just a little bit, because we seasoned it earlier. We seasoned the water, I should say. And seasoning the water usually is good enough to get that garlic in there throughout, that seasoning in there throughout the cauliflower. Okay? A little bit of pepper. And we're going to finish with our Parmesan. You can barely see that there. Get the Parmesan in. About a half a cup or so of freshly grated Parmigiano Reggiano. Alright, you want to give this a nice stir. Oh yeah. Nice and fluffy, nice and creamy. And a good alternative to starchy potatoes. Let's give it a taste. That right there is pretty much spot on. I'm going to add just a little bit more seasoning, just a touch. Just a touch. More ground black pepper. All right. And there you have it. Roasted garlic and Parmesan mashed cauliflower. We're going to go ahead and plate this up and finish it out. This is 2wlv's Kitchen. You know I love you guys. Stay tuned. Alright, let's get a nice good look at that. Roasted garlic and Parmesan cauliflower mash. This is how we do it on 2wlv's Kitchen. Nice carbless. It's low carb. Nice low carb alternative. And so that is it. That is the sideshow for you guys today. 2wlv's going to wrap it up and we'll be right back. Stay tuned. So there you have it. 3 lip smacking sides you can pair with just about any main. And, you know, like I always preach, if you are prepared ahead of time, got all your mise en place ready to go, your veggies cut up, and your aromatics chopped up, all your side dishes, and, or all the things that, all the components that you want to put into your dishes, lay them all out. Get them all out on the counter so that you are not spending as much time in the kitchen. All right, so that is going to be a wrap on the sideshow. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for hanging out in 2wlv's Kitchen. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at DJ2wlv. There will be an Instagram page dedicated to 2wlv's Kitchen, so be on the lookout for that. I haven't done all the posting, all the particulars to get that started. I'm just kind of lazy, so forgive me. But that's a wrap on the sideshow episode of 2wlv's Kitchen. Hope to see you guys next time. DJ 2wlv, I'm out.